In 2022, we celebrate 130 years of HBCU football. On December 27th, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the 2022 season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media by using the hashtag HBCU130. Now, here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Friday, November 11th. I'm Donal Ware. It's Friday! Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there that protect our country and keep us safe. And we want to also say that our thoughts and prayers are with those that have been affected by Nicole. So as you know, each Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, we preview the HBCU National Game, or games as it were, of the weekend. We've got two of them, both our conference championship games, the CIAA championship and the SIAC championship game. Let's start with the CIAA championship game. You got a Fayetteville State team who's in the CIAA championship game for the fifth straight year. We're going to see this time if the fifth time is the charm. Meanwhile, for Choward, for the Hawks, it's their first time in the CIAA championship game. These two teams met, I think it was week 3, maybe week 4 of the season, where Fayetteville State came out with a slim victory. Since that time, I think Choward has played better football than Fayetteville State has played, and Choward has had tougher competition. You look at that CIAA Northern Division and the teams that Choward had to get past in order to win that CIAA North. I mean, Virginia Union, the Hawks beat Virginia Union. I mean, that was a huge, huge win. Meanwhile, the Southern Division just wasn't great this year in the CIAA. That said, I think when you're talking about the way that Fayetteville State has won football games, because, under Richard Hayes, the defense has, and that's his calling card. The defenses have been okay. They've had great players. I mean, you can look at Joshua Williams. Last year was drafted now with the Chiefs, the cornerback. So they've had good players, but not great defenses. Well, the way Fayetteville State has been winning football games, especially the latter part of the season, is because of the defense. It's no mistake why Fayetteville State is number 1 in terms of points allowed on defense and number 1 in terms of total defense. I mean, that's the reason, and Fayetteville State has been winning football games. I think where Fayetteville State, because Fayetteville State's number 1 in terms of passing defense, like, you're not going to pass the ball, generally speaking, against Fayetteville State. I'm looking at the numbers here. The Broncos only giving up 114 yards passing per game. Where Choward may be able to have some success is been able to run the football a little bit against Fayetteville State, because you look at Choward is averaging 172 yards rushing per game. That's really, really good. Meanwhile, you look at Fayetteville State. I mean, it's not bad. Fayetteville State's giving up 132 yards rushing per game. So it's not bad, but that's where Choward may be able to have some success. I mean, I think this is going to be a close football game. It's on a neutral site in Salem, Virginia. It's the first time for Choward, so it's something to be said about that. in terms of not on the field. What I mean is not in terms of the opponent per se, but some of the things that come with first time playing in a CIAA championship game. I mean, it's easy to say, go let it all hang out, but that's easier said than done. Meanwhile, Fayetteville State has done this multiple times before. So the game in of itself and bright eyes, bright lights, because it's the championship game, I don't think comes into play as much for the Broncos because they've been here before. A lot of these players have been here before. As I mentioned, I think this is going to be a close football game, just like the first one was. And as far as a prediction, because defense wins championships, I think Fayetteville State's defense has been phenomenal because Fayetteville State has been to the CIAA championship game many times before. I think that this time Fayetteville State will win its first CIAA championship game since 2009 against Choward. Now, the other HBCU national game of the week is Tuskegee and Benedict. The game is going to be played at Benedict, so Benedict has a home field advantage. When I look at Tuskegee, okay, first of all, you have Reginald Ruffin in his first season coming in, and I mean, he's turned that program around, okay? So Tuskegee lost its first two games, Fort Valley State to open the season, and then lost to Hampton before it reeled off 8 straight victories. So when you're talking about Tuskegee, you're talking about a hot football team. But I mean, you can't be any hotter than what Benedict is. I mean, Benedict has not lost a single football game all season, is 10-0 on the season. I like the quarterback play of Eric Phoenix. I think he's done a really good job from the quarterback position. And, you know, he's not going to turn the ball over a lot. He's going to get it done through the air. So I really like what he's been able to do, the quarterback from Benedict and what he's been able to do there. When I look at the Tuskegee defense, okay, and the running game has been decent it's been decent. It's been decent for Benedict, but that aerial attack, their offense has been solid, but Eric Phoenix has been good. When I look at this Tuskegee defense, listen, I mean, there have been some, I forget which game it was. It could have been against Clark. I mean, Tuskegee gave up it was like 500 yards of total offense. Of that, like 250 were on the ground. So Tuskegee is in the bottom half of the SIAC when it comes to stopping the run. And even if you look at a team like a Benedict who's solid in terms of running the football, I think Benedict can have some success in terms of running the football against that Tuskegee defense. When I look at Tuskegee from an offensive standpoint, I look at the running back, Taylor. He's solid. I look at the quarterback play. It is really, really good for Tuskegee when you're talking about Bryson Williams and what he's been able to do from that quarterback position. Solid. Got receivers. Antonio Meeks. I mean, they've got deep threats. I think the quarterback has done a tremendous job for Tuskegee, that being Bryson Williams. When I look at the Benedict defense, however, man, Benedict is loaded. Number one defense in terms of points allowed per game. Number one defense in terms of overall defense this year. You know, I look at the job that Reginald Ruffin has done, and it's been phenomenal. He doesn't lose in a lot of SIAC championship games. I'm trying to think. I think while he was at Miles won 4 championships, if I'm not mistaken, lost 2. So he's got a good record there. When I look at Chennis Berry, it's his first SIAC championship game. And you know that in terms of being a head coach, it's his first SIAC championship game. I just think that Benedict is the more talented football team. It's got the better defense. It is a home game. I think Tuskegee fans will travel to this game. they got to support those Golden Tigers. I mean, you had in excess of 35,000 at homecoming last week for the game against Miles, but I think that they'll travel on the road, but that's a home game for Benedict. Benedict has passed every test so far this season. Not only passed the test with flying colors so far this season. That said, I think it's going to be a relatively close football game. And when I say relatively close, I mean somewhere between 7 and 10 points. And I like Benedict to win the SIAC championship. Your thoughts? You can hit me up via Twitter at Box2Row, BOXTOROW, or my personal Twitter account at DWare1, at DWare1. Listen, I want you to be safe. Enjoy the game that you're going to be at this weekend. I'm going to be calling the A&T and Charleston Southern football game in Greensboro. Very much looking forward to doing that. This weekend, catch up on a couple of the HBCU Football Daily podcasts that you may have missed. As a matter of fact, our podcasts go back to 2017. So if you've missed any of our podcasts this year or in the past, of course, you can log onto our website, box2row.com. You can also listen to the podcast at iHeartMedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch on the Box to Row YouTube page. Once again, happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll talk with you on Monday.
Freedom isn't free, and someone had to pay the price. And I realized it was you who risked your life. It was you who was sacrificed. You gave up your family, your dreams, and your time, so I can live in peace with mine. You willingly walk in the danger zone every time you're called upon. Today I must sing to you this song, 'cause I never know if you're coming back home. Laid down his life for his friend.